Good evening and welcome to our nightly news bulletin where we give you everything that's going on in India and the world, along with some science and technology and sports in just 10 minutes. So you get to find out everything without having to listen to people shout, yell at each other or give you any sort of opinion. This is just the news as it happened, which is why creatively we've called it Just the News. Let's get straight to it. This is of course the 6th of March and here is our news for the day. To begin with, the central government has responded to US-based think tank Freedom House's rating of India, which demoted our freedom score from free to partially free. Remember, we told you that story a couple of days ago. The government has responded calling this particular score misleading, incorrect and misplaced. This is the Ministry of Information and Broadcast that put out a statement that said, and I quote, "Many states in India under its federal structure are ruled by parties other than the one at the national level through an election process which is free and fair and which is conducted by an independent election body. This reflects the working of a vibrant democracy which gives space to those who hold varying views," end quote. Now, on the allegations of discriminatory policies against Muslims mentioned in the report, the government has said that it treats all citizens equally as enshrined under the Constitution and all laws are applied without discrimination. The specific reference to the Northeast Delhi riots in 2019, the government has said necessary legal and preventive actions were taken by law enforcement machinery on all complaints and calls received as per law and procedures. And finally, on the accusation of the misuse of the sedition law, especially against journalists and activists, the government has said that public order and police are state subjects and the responsibility of maintaining order, including investigation, registration and prosecution of crimes, rests with the concerned state governments. Therefore, measures deemed fit are taken by law enforcement authorities to preserve public order, end quote. An update now on the farmers' protest, as many of you have been asking about. The protest that started on the 26th of November has now completed 100 days. Protesting farmers, in fact, blocked the Western Peripheral Expressway to mark the 100 days of their protest. Other places that were blocked included the Palwal Highway, the Dansa and the Bahar Durga Toll Plaza outside of Delhi. Meanwhile, the Punjab government on Friday passed a resolution during the State Assembly's budget session demanding an unconditional withdrawal of the 3 farm laws by the central government. The resolution was moved by Chief Minister Captain Amrinder Singh, who called the laws unacceptable for farmers as well as for the Punjab government. And in other news, the owner of the SUV, which was found filled with explosives outside of Mukesh Ambani's Mumbai home last week, was found dead in the Kalwa Creek on Friday. His name, Mansukh Hiren, a car parts dealer, actually went missing on Thursday night, and his family lodged a missing persons complaint with the police just a few hours before his body was discovered, I beg your pardon. In a report by NDTV, Hiren had in fact written a letter to the Maharashtra Chief Minister, the Home Minister and the Police Chief just a couple of days ago, complaining about harassment at the hands of police and journalists. Now, he alleged that his car was stolen and he in fact did not get his car back, and then it was found in front of Mukesh Ambani's home. After he was found dead, the opposition in Maharashtra, led by the BJP, demanded that the case be handed over to the National Investigating Agency. The Ministry of Road and Transport and Highways has announced a new rule that will require all cars in the country to have dual front airbags for both front seat passengers as a standard fitment from the 1st of April this year. Older models will be required to install dual airbags, and they have time until the 31st of August this year to get that done. Previously, it was a requirement for only one airbag in the driver's seat to be mandatory, and because of this, the passenger sitting in the front seat was prone to severe injuries and death because of accidents, according to the ministry. The move is expected to increase the price of cars from an average of 5,000 to 7,000 rupees. And this is for those cars that didn't have two airbags in the front seats. Moving on now to news from various state governments. In Delhi, the Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has announced that Delhi will have its own board of school education like other states have. He said that out of the 1,000 government schools in the state of Delhi, 20 to 25 government schools will be made part of the Delhi Education Board system starting 21-22 academic year, and they will be removed from the CBSE. He said students will be assessed during the year and the education system will be based on par with international standards. The state of Rajasthan has decided that visitors from Punjab, Haryana, Madhya Pradesh and Gujarat will now have to present COVID negative tests when they enter Rajasthan. Previously, the rule was only applicable to visitors from Kerala and Maharashtra. The RT-PCR test must be done 72 hours before entering Rajasthan. News coming out of Uttar Pradesh. According to a report by ANI, a private hospital in Uttar Pradesh's Prayagraj allegedly sent a 3-year-old child back home without stitching up her stomach after an operation because the family couldn't afford to pay the 5 lakh rupees in fees. According to ANI, the NCPCR has written to the Prayagraj collector demanding an inquiry into the case along with an FIR. The NCPCR is the National Commission for Child Rights. Prayagraj DM, the District Magistrate Bhanuchandra Goswami, has formed a 2-member committee to investigate the matter. News coming in now for Uttarakhand. According to a report by the Kathmandu-based International Centre for Integrated Mountain Development, it was heavy rain in the Chamoli region from the 4th to the 6th of February and an overall rise in temperature in Uttarakhand over the last 4 decades that resulted in the flash floods in the state. The report also revealed that a crack had formed before this incident where a rock had detached that led to the flood. So far, 72 bodies, 30 human body parts have been recovered from different places of the flood-hit areas, out of which 41 bodies have been identified. As many as 132 people are still missing. News now from the world of business. Tesla CEO and SpaceX founder Elon Musk is no longer the world's second richest man either, after posting losses of about $6.2 billion. Musk's, this is his second fall from January onwards. As per the Forbes real-time billionaire list, Elon Musk is now valued at $150.9 billion after consecutive falls in the shares of Tesla over the last couple of weeks. That second spot has now been claimed by Frenchman Bernard Arnault, who is the owner of Louis Vuitton, the French multinational corporation specializing in luxury goods. He's valued at $155.6 billion. But Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos remains the world's richest man at $175.4 billion. International news right now. Australia has raised the issue with the European Commission of the blocking of shipment of vaccines by Italy. Now remember, Italy had blocked a shipment of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine that was supposed to go to Australia. This was done because Italy reportedly claimed the shipment failed to fulfill, the company had failed to fulfill its European Union commitments first. Australia has now approached the European Commission for an intervention. The Prime Minister of Australia, Scott Morrison, though, speaking at a press conference, said the country's vaccine program will continue unabated and said this particular shipment was not the one they were counting on for the rollout. Italy and the European Commission had blocked the shipment of over 2.5 lakh doses of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine going to Australia. Also, Suits co-star Patrick Adams has come out in support of Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, after she was accused of allegedly bullying her staff members while she was part of the British royal family at Kensington Palace. Adams tweeted today saying it is obscene that the royal family, whose newest member is currently growing inside of her, is promoting and amplifying accusations of bullying against a woman who herself was basically forced to flee the UK in order to protect her family and her own mental health, end quote. This comes after the tiff between Buckingham Palace and Harry and Meghan, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle ahead of their interview with Oprah Winfrey that's likely to be aired this Sunday. Australia's public broadcaster, SBS, said it will no longer air shows from Chinese state television news services like CGTN and CCTV because of human rights complaints that it has received. Now, according to the South China Morning Post, SBS said that it is currently investigating CGTN and CCTV for airing dozens of forced prisoner confessions between 2013 and 2020 after a complaint from human rights organization Safeguard Defenders. News from the world of science and technology right now. Honda has become the world's first car maker to sell a vehicle equipped with level 3 automation technology, which basically means it can drive itself. It's been unveiled as partially self-driving Legend sedan in Japan. Only 100 cars will be sold in Japan right now at a price of $102,000 in Indian rupees. That's 74,64,400 about rupees. The new technology is a big step towards eliminating human error-induced accidents. And on to some news from the sports world. Good news for the Indian cricket team. India defeated England by an innings and 25 runs in the fourth and final test to win the test series 3-1. Now with this, India has got its place in the final for the first ever World Test Championship this Saturday. Rishabh Pant with 101 and Washington Sundar with 96 not out really set up that win for India, and India bowled out England for 205 runs in their first innings. Ravichandran Ashwin and Akshar Patel got 5 wicket hauls in the second innings to help India bundle up England for 135 runs. In Japan, 118-year-old Kane Tanaka, who is the oldest living person in the world, will carry the Olympic torch in Japan, according to CNN. Now, she survived cancer twice and has lived through 2 pandemics and will carry the torch as it passes through her hometown of Fukuoka in May. Her family has presented her with a brand new pair of sneakers for the occasion. Although she will remain in her wheelchair, is determined to walk the last few steps as she passes the torch on to the next runner. And finally, a dose of positive news before we wrap up. Several companies globally have begun adopting 4-day work weeks, especially after COVID has increased the demand for flexible work hours. Unilever, consumer goods giant, has begun a year-long trial in New Zealand. Spain's government is considering subsidizing firms with 4-day weeks, and Japan's lawmakers are also discussing weekly days off for workers. Well, despite initial resistance, 2/3 of the companies that had implemented the policy saw an increased productivity and client satisfaction. That's something to look forward to. But that brings us to the end of news on this Saturday night. I hope you have a really good weekend. We'll be back with news and discussions on Monday. See you then.